Hey, ElvisCupGuy here. Hey, you guys are going to want to stay tuned and watch this entire video all the way through. You're not going to believe what I'm getting ready to show you. It's a rare, one-of-a-kind Elvis record, but it's not a normal Elvis record. It's an Elvis record that was actually pressed onto an X-ray from the early 1960s, and it came all the way from Russia, USSR, the Soviet Union. Yes, it's an Elvis record that was a bootleg. It was done in the black market and sold in the Soviet Union. And this was totally illegal back in the day, but I'm going to show you the record. I'm going to tell you the wild story behind it. And at the very end of the video, I'm actually going to play the record for you. And I want you guys to leave a comment to see if you can identify the Elvis song that's actually on this X-ray record of human bones, an Elvis record, okay? Because these things, when they were made, they were really fragile and they were only good for 5 or 10 plays. So it's very faint, but listen closely and you'll hear the Elvis song from the early 60s. So anyway, you're not going to believe the story about this thing and what I'm getting ready to show you, and it's going to start now. All right, what you guys are looking at now is a very rare, one-of-a-kind Elvis Presley 78 RPM Bones record. And what this is this is a black market bootleg record that was made in Soviet Union and Russia. These were made in the 1950s and going on into the late 1960s. And what these are recordings cut into X-ray film, okay? This was a black market way of smuggling and distributing music that was banned from broadcast in the Soviet Union. Artists such as Elvis Presley, which this is, and hey, by the way, at the very end of this video, I'm going to play this rare, one-of-a-kind Bones record for you, and I want you guys to guess, or best guess, as to what Elvis Presley song this is, okay? So leave a comment, but I'm going to play it for you. These were only meant to be played 5 or 10 times and they wear out, so listen closely. But anyway, artists such as Elvis, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Beach Boys, Ella Fitzgerald, and Chubby Checker, among many others, were actually made into Bones records. Medical x-rays purchased or picked out of the trash from hospitals and clinics were used to create the recordings. The x-rays were cut into 7-inch discs like you see here, and the center hole was burned into the disc with a cigarette. They were cut at 78 RPM with the help of special machines. And the quality was awful, but the price was low, usually a ruble or a ruble and a half. But like I said earlier, the disc could only be played 5 or 10 times, and then they were worn out because the grooves were so shallow and so fragile. Eventually, in 1958, Russia made these illegal, and it forbade people from making these anymore. Who would have ever guessed that music and radiology would ever cross paths like this? Vinyl was scarce in the Soviet Union, but coincidentally, around this time in the 50s and 60s, the Soviet authorities issued an order to the hospitals to discard exposed X-ray films after 1 year because they were highly flammable. Thus, X-ray films, which would hold the groove of recorded music, became readily available. Okay, so using a standard wax disc cutter, the forbidden music would be copied. Then a copy of the album would be etched into the X-ray using a recording lathe. The X-ray was cut into a crude circle, and a cigarette was used to burn a hole in the middle. This allowed the one-sided record to be played on any turntable. Like I said, these were cheap. They only cost a ruble on the black market. And wow, these are really rare and one of a kind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this thing for you guys. And like I said, you could only play these 5 or 10 times and they start to wear out. And I'm going to play it. It's an Elvis song, and I'll give you a hint. It was made after February 1961, I'll say, until 63, 64. So it's an Elvis record from 61 to 63, 64, an Elvis single. And it's on this Bones record that I'm going to play for you, and this is one of a kind. So listen close. I'm going to play it for you, And you're not going to believe how cool this thing is. And man, I'm showing it here under the light. And it's just really a trip. I've always wanted one, but this is legitimate. I would say this is maybe from 1961, 1962. So hang tight. I'm going to play it for you and guess. See if you can guess what Elvis song is being played on this rare, one-of-a-kind Bones X-ray record from the Soviet Union. Leave a comment and see if you guys can guess what it is. But these things are so fragile. But anyway, it's coming up now.